off, I'd like to say, who here, get ready to put up your hand, who here would like to get a gas bill for the rest of your life, okay? Nobody? Shucks. Yeah, let's get our homes off gas and onto the heat pumps because you can save money. Gas isn't cheap. Even the gas supply isn't assured. We get a particularly cold week this winter. Something goes wrong down at the Bass Strait. We might hear gas supply being in the news as a concern. My option is not to go frack Victoria to find more gas, which would take 10 years to bring online anyway. Whereas what we can do tomorrow is to get people to be using the air conditioners they already own for heating. So we could put a big dent in the gas demand practically overnight. So we're on the tail end of the Bass Strait now, and more of the gas in Victoria, if you keep using it, is going to be coming down those pipelines from Queensland. So none of that gas is going to be cheap. Those days are gone, and gas is just going to keep getting more expensive and more environmentally and socially damaging, with probably the most complicated chart I'll share tonight. It shows the way that gas has been supplied in the good old days. So that's the gas demand for the eastern states. Victorian homes, Canberra homes using gas for heating is the wintertime peak. But in 2018, no problem. There was a lot of that red, which was the Bass Strait and some of the other conventional gas fields. But now let's go ahead to 2025. And what we see there is that there's not much of the red anymore, the Bass Strait. That's not able to produce in the middle of winter like it used to. Yes, we can bring as much coal seam gas down those pipelines as possible. That's the yellow. But even still across the middle of the winter there, it's not at all sure exactly how we would get that much gas into Victoria. My solution, of course, is, like I said, heat with your air conditioner, and we can really crash that demand profile. Gas, is it clean? Not really. This shows some gas developments in the middle of the wine-producing region in South Australia. And this shows the coal seam gas wells up in Queensland. There's a map there with 150 wells. So that's what the coal seam gas looks like up in Queensland. People live among those wells, or at least they used to. Once the gas gets to town, then what happens to it? Well, a lot of it leaks. This is infrared imaging showing the streets of Boston, where they did a survey and they just found gas leaks pretty much everywhere. If you go down the street and smell it, I mean, that's what's going on. You might say that's Boston, that couldn't happen here, but a guy did go and do some surveys for Melbourne and Sydney and of course found the same thing. We're starting to track the methane emissions from the satellites, and it shows how bad the problem is globally. So that's kind of the bad news, but the good news is that we don't have to use the gas anymore. This is a reverse cycle air conditioner. It's a heat pump. 1 unit of electricity into one of these to run the fans and compressors. You can get 4 or 5 units of heat coming out of it. Where did all that free heat come from? It came from outside your house. So this is why the economics are so fabulous, and the gas industry can't compete with something that's like 500% efficient. And the gas industry likes to talk about, oh, it's really expensive for people to electrify. But in some case, go find 2 AA batteries, put them in the remote control, find the heat button, turn it on, and you can start saving immediately. That's not a huge expense. So you can heat your house for 1/3 the cost with the air conditioners instead of the gas heating. And you can just see what a winner this is. And then you can do the same thing with hot water. This is a hot water heat pump, same reverse cycle technology that gets heat out of the air and puts it in your water for like 1/3 the cost of gas or 1/10 the cost of gas if you can set this thing up to run on a timer with your solar panels. And then that leaves the cooking, doing a stir fry in a wok. So you can do stir fries in a wok on induction. But then don't forget the rest of the house, the thermal envelope. So the insulation, the window coverings, the draft proofing, those are all very important. So getting rid of the gas meter is a thing. Once you're done using the gas, ring up and say, get rid of it and see what happens. There's a lot of interesting stories about what happens at that point. But it's definitely a movement, thousands, tens of thousands of people have already done this. My Efficient Electric Home, it's 87,000 members now. So a lot of people coming in from all over the country wanting to improve their homes. But one of the reasons I started this group 8 years ago was after we'd done that research at Melbourne Uni, we said, look, it's a lot cheaper to heat your house with an air conditioner. And then I did it in my own house and proved all that. But we didn't have, like thousands of case studies. Well, now we have thousands and tens of thousands of case studies of people doing this sort of thing around the country. This is our house, an old weatherboard in Sandringham. I mean, you guys can do this a lot faster. You can electrify in a year maybe, but it took me lots of years. And the first thing we did, we got those first 6 solar panels, back in the John Howard days. But where you see the gas use drop off in 2017, that's when we started heating the place with the air conditioners instead of using the ducted gas heating. And then we got off the gas hot water. And then we put 22 more solar panels up. And then we finally got off the gas cooking. And so now you can see that this house is now a net exporter of energy. So after all these investments, we're saving $3,000 a year. Rebates, a lot of rebates again, but there is one website, www.energy.gov.au/rebates, so you can type in you're from Victoria and you're looking for what's available on heating, cooling, etc.